It all started with one quiet decision, a simple conversation behind closed doors that changed everything. They thought no one would notice, that this move would go unnoticed, hidden beneath excuses and half-truths. But nothing stays hidden forever, especially when the people involved are used to living their lives in the spotlight. What makes this move different is not just where they went, but why they went there and what they were running from. For years, the story had been the same: new homes, new promises, and the same broken cycle of fresh starts. Each move meant escaping the wreckage of the last, pretending the past could be boxed up and left behind. But this time, something was off. The move wasn't about a better house or a new chapter. It was about control, about silence, and about rewriting history before anyone could question it. Those who were closest to them started noticing the cracks. Quiet calls stopped being returned. Plans that used to be made together were suddenly one-sided. And for the first time, people began to whisper that the family wasn't united. It was fractured, scattered across cities and emotions, pretending to still be whole. There's something tragic about watching a family try to hold on to an image that's already gone. Behind the scenes, there were signs that this hidden move was part of a much larger pattern. Financial stress, emotional breakdowns, even conflicts with the community that once supported them. And instead of facing the truth, they packed it all up and drove away, leaving behind the people and problems they didn't want to deal with. But the truth always catches up. Even when the house is new, the paint is fresh, and the neighbors haven't yet learned your name. The truth is, they weren't moving toward something. They were moving away from it. Away from accountability, away from the expectations that came with the life they built, away from the image they sold to millions. And in that quiet, almost desperate escape, they revealed more about themselves than any statement ever could. The move wasn't hidden because it was private. It was hidden because it was shameful. And now that it's out, the question isn't where they went. It's what they were running from, and how long before they have to run again. The neighbors had questions almost immediately. Boxes arrived in the middle of the night, curtains stayed drawn even during the day, and not once did anyone see them outside together. It was supposed to be a new beginning, a symbol of peace and progress, but instead, it looked like isolation wrapped in luxury. The house was bigger, newer, and more expensive, yet it carried the same tension that had followed them for years. You could feel it in the air, the silence, the unease, the sense that something wasn't right. Those who knew them before could tell this wasn't about comfort or safety. It was about image. They wanted to control the narrative, to show the world that everything was fine. But nothing was fine. Behind those freshly painted walls, arguments echoed. Doors slammed. The illusion of happiness lasted only as long as the camera lights were off. And when the interviews came, when the smiles appeared again for the public, the cracks were still there, just hidden beneath makeup, filters, and forced laughter. For years, they'd claimed that faith guided every decision. They spoke about purpose, family, and divine direction. But what faith demands secrecy? What purpose requires hiding? You can't claim to live by truth and then build a life on pretending. Yet that's what this move was. An elaborate performance meant to keep up appearances while everything inside continued to crumble. What makes this worse is how many people believed them. The fans who defended every word, the friends who excused every lie, the followers who thought the pain was exaggerated. They became part of the act, willingly blind to what was really happening. It's easy to forget that the people you see smiling on camera are often the ones crying off it, but this time, the story was already slipping out of their hands. Rumors turned into reports, quiet doubts became public conversations. Those who had stayed silent began to talk, and the hidden move wasn't so hidden anymore. You can't erase years of deception with one press release or one emotional video. You can't move far enough away to escape the truth. The truth moves with you. It lives in your reflection, your interviews, your tone. And when you've built a life around controlling perception, the day people stop believing is the day it all falls apart. The unraveling began quietly, like all endings do. It wasn't a single moment, but a slow accumulation of contradictions, stories that didn't line up, promises that felt hollow. Those who watched closely noticed the shift first, the hesitation in her voice, the way his words no longer matched his actions. They were tired of pretending, but too deep in the lie to admit it. Each new explanation only made the story more unbelievable. Each new attempt to sound sincere felt like another performance rehearsed too many times. The cracks were no longer invisible. Friends who once defended them began to distance themselves. The inner circle got smaller and the silence grew louder. People started to realize that what they thought was loyalty had really been fear. Fear of being cut off, fear of being blamed, fear of becoming the next scapegoat in a cycle that never ended. And still, they smiled for the cameras because in their world, appearance mattered more than peace. Behind closed doors, the arguments became unbearable. They blamed each other for everything: the criticism, the exposure, the loss of control. Every word was a weapon, every silence a punishment. They wanted to believe this move could fix what was broken, but how can you rebuild something that was never built on truth to begin with? The house stood tall, but the foundation was already sinking. Then came the moment they couldn't hide anymore, when one of them finally spoke out, not in anger, but exhaustion. The confession wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, almost defeated. "We thought moving would make us new again," they said. "But we brought the same ghosts with us." That sentence spread faster than any headline, because it wasn't just gossip, it was truth. And once the truth escaped, nothing could contain it. The hidden move became a symbol, a metaphor for every family that hides behind perfection, every person who runs from their past hoping it won't catch up. But it always does. You can change your address, your story, even your name, but you can't outrun what you refuse to face. The world saw a new house. What they didn't see was a family finally collapsing under the weight of its own lies. In the weeks that followed, the calm felt eerie. Publicly, they insisted everything was fine. They smiled through interviews, posted pictures of coffee cups and sunsets, spoke about gratitude and fresh starts. But the eyes always tell the truth. The light was gone. Every word felt rehearsed, every image staged to drown out the whispers that had already become too loud tossilants. What had started as a quiet relocation had now turned into a public autopsy of their private life. People who once admired them started questioning what they were really seeing. The same fans who defended them now replayed old clips, looking for signs they missed: the smirks, the uncomfortable glances, the carefully edited moments that suddenly made too much sense. The illusion had cracked, and once it broke, no amount of spin could glue it back together. They had built their reputation on being transparent, but the more they spoke, the less believable they became. Inside the new house, the distance between them grew wider. Rooms that once felt full now echoed. Even when they were together, there was a coldness in the air, two people sharing space but living separate lives. They still spoke of faith and unity, but there was nothing spiritual left in their connection. It had turned into business, into routine, into a performance neither wanted to be part of anymore. The cameras kept rolling, but the story had already ended. For a while, they tried to control the damage. They deleted posts, edited out parts of conversations, rewrote timelines to make themselves look better. But the internet remembers everything. Screenshots, recordings, statements. Every version of their truth was stacked against them. They had spent years shaping public perception, but now that same audience demanded accountability. The narrative wasn't theirs anymore. The irony is that this new house, the symbol of their rebirth, had become the setting for their unraveling. The walls that were supposed to protect them turned into witnesses. Every argument, every lie, every quiet tear left a mark no renovation could hide. And when the truth finally caught up, it wasn't dramatic or explosive. It was silent, heavy, inevitable, the kind of fending that feels like the only thing left to do is walk away.